The Pitmen. Now that I have mentioned the Pitmen casually, I feel I should explain further in case you are not familiar. It is true that they emerge from the ground during earthquakes, but earthquakes are a rare and special occurrence at the pit. But before I tell you about earthquakes, you should know a little bit more about the Pitmen. They live in what the local townsfolk call the pit, though the Pitmen have their own name for it. The pit's opening is at the center of what looks like a massive anthill, about a half a mile from the town of Coppershire. The people of the copper town of Coppershire and the Pitmen mingle on occasion, but mostly they are like kindly neighbors, who merely signal hello and farewell, tip their respective figurative hats or miners' helmets, and mind each other with reverence and the proper space. That's not to say they do not welcome each other when individuals from either group interact. In fact, Pitmen have married with the people of the copper town, and some Pitmen have left the pit to wander Ethan and have found other places to reside. Yes, there are a great many exceptions, as many people, though relatively few, have been down into the pit and seen what goes on down there. Most interactions come from when copper miners stumble into a Pitman-made tunnel or shaft by digging too deeply and ambitiously. When that happens, they greet one another and go about their businesses, perhaps sharing bread or water or subterranean nutrient-rich mud. This type of mud is mostly what the Pitmen eat, and it actually tastes sweet, like dark pumpernickel bread sprinkled with sugar. It forms when the underground insects die and fertilize the soil with their sugary blood and protein-packed shells. It's found under patches of glowing polka dot mushrooms, which make up part of the Pitmen diet as well. They eat all kinds of things underground, believe it or not. But to enter the pit, you will find at the mouth of the hill a shaft, with winding corkscrew catwalks of carven rock, and a bronze elevator that cranks down as deep as you can see. From the mouth, a constant wave of thin smoke and steam rises, making haze the air and warping the view through it. On winter days, it is a great billowing tower of thick white cloud, where in summer it is only a distorted transparent crown, like the shimmering around a bonfire in daylight. Pitmen love warmth. Down in their hole, they have quite wonderful homes. They are not bothered by the lack of sunlight and can see well in the dark, but the sun does not hurt their eyes, as their smelters run constantly and are as bright as the lava that they often encounter in their tunneling. Their dwellings are very homey and comfortable, and offer just enough space. That is, beds that appear to be nothing but slots in the wall that look like they should hold a large book. The drawers and oven and furniture are all cut straight from the walls, and adorning the space in between are symbols and pictures etched into the dusky auburn rock. Though it might sound claustrophobic, the Pitmen are little people who are comforted by the containment of close walls and doorways they fit perfectly through. Still, some of their homes feature great halls and hearths, oftentimes the result of the advantageous use of a natural air pocket. But the Pitmen value comfort like anyone else, although perhaps even more so. With the lack of sunlight, they instead decorate their windowsills with cave mushrooms, moss, and fungus and mold of all colors and sizes. They have red mushrooms as big as trees, and even keep gardens with blue moss spotted with white beady bulbs. They keep black round beetles in coops like we keep chickens, and ride armored brown millipedes like horses. On holidays and anniversaries, they gift each other bouquets of these mushrooms that come in all colors and bioluminesce when they blow out their nighttime candles. Their tunnels stretch miles and miles in each direction, spanning the landscape of Ethan from underneath. They travel by minecart with candles jutting from the tops of their helmets. They pass by in the winding close dark, layers of sleeping dragons on piles of treasure, chambers with towers hanging upside down of amethyst and smooth crystal. They discover and make use of untouched grottos. They find fossilized remains of ancient inhabitants of Ethan. Their tunnel systems are paralleled by mole rats with thick goggles, lugging pickaxes over their shoulders. But like the Pitmen, they are rarely seen above ground. At night, the big torches and hearths are extinguished, leaving only candles for their nighttime routines. And in little nooks, the mole rats' house lights line the walls like little fiery scars in the rock. But down there in the dark, they come to value little lights. So at bedtime, they blow out their candles too, and gaze at the distant mouth of the pit, high and beyond in their sky, even before our own sky begins. But we share that sky too, and despite living underground, the Pitmen love the sky. It is important to them. And with such absolute dark, the stars are brilliant and magnified by their position through the telescoping shaft. A handful of stars becomes a constellated spotlight, and through the night and seasons, they see phases shift fast and flowing, a liquid glittering sky that belongs only to their eyes, who are as in awe by a few as we are by 1,000, or maybe even more so. But I haven't told you about the earthquakes. When the world trembles and sways like a boat in wake, storm, or near the shoreline, the pitmen see it coming. When you are so close with the soil as they are, the old songs of the ancient rock beings, the masters of the plates of stone, become legible and clear to read, and the planet herself watches over them, as she watches over us all, and so always warns her children when she is about to sneeze. When they know an earthquake to be forthcoming, the pitmen gather their special things, their moss garden heat lamps, their family photos, their igneous statuettes, their geode bookends, their crystal cereal bowls, their mining supplies, and of course, their family and friends. Once done, they stand in their doorways and admire. Admire and remember the home they made here. Remember the shop they started, and all the tunnel pathways that they blazed in solid rock, their shaking small fires the only light, pressing a luminous echo into the dripping silent caverns, and birthing shadows to multiply and people the now loud underworld, visibly now alive. They remember, appreciate, remember again, and nod with a smile before they climb in mass exodus to the surface world. There at the mouth of the pit, pitmen and pitwomen and pit children and pit people of indiscernible category rise and pour from that edge that separates the two connected places, and the pit people become surface people, though they are still people of the pit. Many of them carry mole rat families in tow, and hold out a hand laden with rodent friends up, so they can, from the hill, see over the throngs of evacuees to the horizon, and all the wonderful things in between, from the towns to the rivers, mountains, people, animals, and plants. Remember that mole rats are nearly blind by nature, and so rely heavily on smell and touch. And when they are in hands in the air, they will adjust their goggles, which allow them to see all the things they never knew could exist, and then they reach their paws out in front of them, as if to feel the landscape in their fingertips, to dig through the open air and breeze, all the while their noses bob up and down in frenzied overload. Yes, the mole rats are awed to see the world above. I do not blame them, as I am sure I would be awed to see the world beneath. Once topside and all accounted for, the pit people sing and join hands in a circle several miles around, surrounding the base of the earthen hill, and they skip as their excitement swings their clasped hands and bounces their joyful feet. They rejoice in the refreshing change of pace, so thankful for fresh air and sunlight. They gather flowers and fruit and parade in a rotating circle until the sun goes down, when they gather to fall under its spell, entranced by the rare new perspective. And when it finally dips fully below the sight line, they let out a collective gasp, followed by a sigh, and then go up the praises of wow, amongst clapping hands and thrilled laughs. Then they go a peaceful silent as the stars roll out in peculiar overwhelming force, and they sleep in the green, leafy, soft grass on their backs, so the revealed, unmasked cosmos, strewn about like the painting of a shiny, tranquil mess, rocks them to their dreams in cautious, pillowy ebb and flow, and by morning it is clean and straightened up, as red and orange clouds of morning remind them finally of their hot molten smelters and oceans of magma beneath. Then they sing their solemn song of dawn as they hug their friends and family and descend again, ready to dig again all their chasms, pockets, chambers, depths, and pathway tunnels that collapsed in the quake. It is this part they are most excited about, as they love to dig. It is this they content themselves with, trying to imagine all the many great, amazing new things they will find this time around, and which parts remained to face another tremor, someday in the future, far up and away. I am not authority on people and creatures that live underground, but I think pitmen are exceptional in many ways. and I hope you now know why.